Today we're going to talk about the first pinch point in the story structure. So we have the hook, which is basically just you getting the reader to want to keep reading. So that could be anything as short as like a curiosity, like in one sentence that's even answered in the very next sentence, and you just keep going to keep the reader interested, keep the reader wanting to find out more. And then you have your inciting incident, which introduces the character to the idea that there's this whole other world that they could be living, but they don't want to, or some other force is telling them not to. You can see that in the inciting incident video. And then there is the first plot point, which 100% forces the character into that other world that they don't want to be living. And you can check out that video here. So today, the very next step is the first pinch point, which comes midway between the first plot point and the midpoint of your novel. And as Cam Weiland says, these are considered minor beats, the pinch points, because there's a first and there's a second pinch point. The first pinch point occurs about 37% halfway between the first plot point and the midpoint. And the primary goal of this is to turn the plot in some kind of way. And ultimately what it does is it showcases that the antagonist has force, that the antagonist is pressuring the protagonist being your main character. The first pinch point will reveal new truths about your main character. So it will pit them up against something that they have been struggling with internally or externally that will ultimately, in the midpoint, which will be the next video, the midpoint will be showing the character how their lie has been deceiving them, that their misbelief is incorrect, and they will start fully realizing, that they've been living life the wrong way, or they've been realizing something about themselves that is not accurate. And so this first pinch point gives like a subtle hint to that, and it helps you to grow on that to get to the midpoint so that everything is connected. So your plot and your character arc are all connected all the way through these points. You want to connect the plot with the inner struggle of the main character. And by doing that, you have your main character's inner struggle. You must know this before you start writing the novel, or if maybe you figured out the first draft and now you're writing your second draft, and you know what your character's misbelief is, what their lie is, what the thing they're going to overcome in order to accomplish the goal that they want to accomplish. Your plot is basically the thing that like forces your character to get out of their comfort zone, to really get in there and dive deep. And they have to, in order to defeat whatever is happening to them in the plot, they have to overcome this lie or misbelief. And you're going to leave these little breadcrumbs all throughout. So the first pinch point is ultimately foreshadowing the revelation to come in the midpoint. So let's take a romance plot line, for example. So you have your character, they kind of are okay living life the way they are, although they're a little bit unhappy because they're lonely, but maybe they're afraid to be in a relationship because they're afraid of getting too close to somebody and then losing them. Okay. So then they meet this person, they're very attracted to this person, maybe either interactions, whatever, they're attracted to this person, but they're still at the point where they're like, I don't need to get involved with this person. I can step away. I can get out of this nonsense. And so they go about their day. The inciting incident happens, and these two are like thrown together, but still they could still walk away from each other. And so maybe they don't pick up the phone, call one another, or text, or they don't push, the interaction. The dogs are barking. Then the first plot point happens and they are forced to work together. So maybe there's like a project at work. Maybe they're coworkers. This is the easiest out to give an example, but I'm not writing a story here, okay? I'm not going for original. So they're thrown together in a project and they have to work together. They have to see each other every day. They have to talk and they have to work together. That is the first plot point. So now their lives are intertwined and there's no coming out of this unless they quit their jobs, which, to be real, that's not realistic for anybody. And then after that, you have the first pinch point. So the first pinch point might be, because they're still at this point in the romance plotline. You're still at this point where it's like, I want to be with this person, but I can't or shouldn't because X, Y, or Z, right? So then the first pinch point happens. The first pinch point is where like your main character is watching this other person. They do something that is just so like grand or amazing, and it's not even towards the main character. It could be something else altogether. Like maybe they you know, help the old lady walking across the street carry her grocery bags. You know, they do something there, it's like, wow, I really, really like this person. Or they make like this joke, or they like the same TV show and you don't know anybody else who's ever liked that TV show before, you know, something like that, where it's like, it's like this, wow, okay, I really like that person. And it's the antagonist, because kind of in a romantic relationship, the antagonist is them getting together. It's exerting the pressure. Other examples of the antagonist exerting pressure could be that if the antagonist is a bad guy, right, the main character gets a scary note from the bad guy, like a threatening note. That could be the first pinch point. Or maybe the antagonist directly confronts the protagonist. So the protagonist is walking down the street and then the guy comes out of the shop, and maybe it is a long lost friend that they've been avoiding because they did something bad, you know, to that friend, but the friend doesn't know about it. Or maybe the friend does. Say the friend does. Say the friend found out and they're trying to avoid that friend because they don't want to face the confrontation, because they know they did something really bad. This other friend's hurting, and the friend walks out and they lock eyes, and maybe they don't even have an exchange, but they lock eyes, and there's that like mean glare, and it's like, you know the friend is thinking about the thing that you did to them, and then you like duck and run. You know, that could be a first pinch point. It could be very, very small, just simple as that, like eye contact and knowing that the other person is mad at you. Could be as simple as that for the first pinch point. That is my best example. Very short video here. If you have any questions, please comment below. If you're working through this out, you're writing a novel, you know, anything, any part of the story structure. I am learning too, and the more that we communicate and talk about this stuff with each other, we can learn from each other. And yeah, so I hope you have a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you next time.